Okay. All right. Jeez. I tell you what. World's gone crazy. Not really. Okay, so let me pick up where I left off. Well, sort of. Or I'll just go back to where I was before. So we are living in a Simon and Garfunkel type of world right now. Hello, darkness, my old friend. It's whatever to see you again. What is it? Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. Well, again, replace that word silence and darkness and replace it with sickness, and you'll get the gist. Hello, darkness. Hello, sickness, my old friend, because every sickness has its own personality. Okay, remember, I'm purging the fucking beast. And it's not easy. And it'll try to stop me from talking too. So hello, sickness, my old friend. I'm feeling it. I've come to talk with you again because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping. And the vision that was planted in my brain still remains with the sound of sickness. In restless dreams, I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone. Neath the halo of a street lamp, I turned my collar to the cold and damp when my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light. And that could be the pain, okay? That split the night and touched the sound of sickness. All right. You know Simon Garfunkel, man. The 90s and the 60s and 70s and 80s, I'll tell you what. And in the naked light, I saw 10,000 people, maybe more, people talking without speaking. Okay, and that's the thing, is that we're living in a world where there is double meanings, because you can't really say, okay, everyone's sick, everyone has shit lurking in them. They have agglutinated, conflicting antigen in their body because of all the different blood types. And so let me go back to then what I'm saying about blood types. Okay, so why does blood clump up? Why does blood clump up? Why does red blood cells clump up? Because there's antigen programming. Now, it's okay to have different people in the world. It's okay to have diversity, but you have to be able to release. If you allow all that clumping of the blood inside your body, when you're holding two different entities, like people who are A and B, positive or negative, okay, and those who are O, they have a closed system, and that's three different entities. Actually, you're all carrying three different entities in our body. Then you have a lot of spirits in your body with so much diversity. Jesus. And so you have three different spirits. Okay, everyone has three different spirits. And so when you think about your body's supposed to release your body is supposed to have one spirit, which is you, the type O. The fact that people who are A and B, not only do they have conflicting spirits, but they also have type O that's trying to like breathe. But then people who are type A have conflicting spirits. People who are type B have conflicting spirits. People who are type O have conflicting spirits because they have a closed system. And so they're trying to get everybody on a level playing field. Well, I don't know what that means. So you can close everybody up relative, to whatever, and give them all the different, therapies to have the conflicting programming at war with each other. And so then with the whole JJ world, since we know that now that your base prototype is a type O, okay? Positive is probably the best. But if your base prototype is type O, then you have A and B inside of you. I could say, eat for two, or I could say eat for three, but I mean, I don't know who's going to eat for three, but it's like being pregnant. It's like being pregnant when you have three different spirits in your body. Actually, two different spirits, because there's you and there's two different spirits, the A and B and all the diversity with A and B. And so then you're like, okay, it's like being pregnant. You have to release those demons. Just like a mother who doesn't want to have a baby beyond 9 months. She has to release that little demon out of her body, that little parasite that's sucking the life out of her. The A and B programming in a type O body, and that's even in a type A and B, because that programming, that demon is even bigger than those who have type O. That's the allegory. That's the Catholic Church. That's Judaism. Judaism understands that with kosher, milk is life. Meat is dead, yes. but you separate them. You don't eat them together. Kosher is you don't mix meat and milk. I had to look that up, and why? Because milk is actually life. And so your type A and B, your type A and B, not only you have to eat for two, but now you have to really gain some weight. You have to gain some weight because you got to bring now the O to be so strong to release the B or release the A programming that has the conflicting antibodies, antigen, all that shit. And if you're type O, I told you I was type O, and I'll tell you, I was gaining so much pressure because I was holding all the A and B programming that was in my body stuck in my colon. But no, I mean, remember what I did was I took myself back down to, I took myself as a type O when I was doing the J juice. I took myself not to my prototype. When I was skinny, I was the A and B portion of me. That was my mom's portion of me, the one that raised me, because she's probably A and B, and she was very, very skinny. Okay? And so then when I got off the J juice, the type O came out. But I was gaining weight, but now I was gaining better weight. I was gaining weight that was now finally to my advantage. And so then you got to think about all the religions in the world, right? You think about all the religions, about Lord Shiva and the protector and the destroyer. That's like your antibodies and your antigen and your body, your own immune system. And that's like, Satan and Lucifer. Satan's like, we got to cut down the population because they're going to be like an Ouroboros and eat each other. Just like when you have the conflicting programming, one's going to eat the other one. And then when that one is now the most predominant and you're not keeping the information going in your body and all that stuff, and then it's going to eat you. I mean, it's such a weird thing. Well, how do you know that the type O is going to eat itself? Because the type O is not going to eat itself. It's not going to destroy itself. What's destroying you is the spirits, the demons that are actually trying to eat the host. Why do people age? Because they have a spirit in them that is not their prototype. They have an entity in them that's not their prototype. That's the aging process. That's the apoptosis, the programmed cell death. When you think about it, I mean, yeah, there's scientific names for it, but when you think about holding that conflicting programming in your body, yeah, you have something inside of you that's cannibalizing the shit out of you. People don't just eat themselves. Do I eat my fingers to stay alive? No, I eat food and then I release. But I don't release in a way that takes away my own substance. And so this is going to be like, I'm not sure how to say this, right? Death and reproduction also, okay, here we go. If your body chose life, it wouldn't need to procreate. Okay, what's this? Okay, so here we go. Okay, I'll just read this whole thing. Lord Shiva is the one conflict like Satan versus Lucifer. Destroyers and protectors are your body's immune system without the conflict programming. Okay, so you have to have a destroyer and a protector to make sure that you're destroying some entity and you're protecting your body. Okay, so death and reproduction, also known as love, all religions, yogis, gurus have been founded upon. Okay, so they're all about love and the tantric sex and playing with your chakras, and they're also about taking all your spicy food, so you feed the demon inside, and you're basically Lord Shiva, and it's cannibalizing you. But destroyer and protector doesn't have to have that demon inside eating you out from the inside. It could also be the person destroying the bad entities and protecting you, so you stay alive. But what happens in all countries out there, they're dying, and then they're reproducing a child, okay? And so what if religion didn't have to be based upon death as the end result? But that's what's in the Hindu religion. That's what's in all religions out there. Even the Catholicism, Judaism, every single religion is based upon the end result is death. Even Buddhism. And they claim to be so peaceful. I don't think the death process is peaceful. Okay? So the key thing is, okay, so if your body chose life, it wouldn't need to procreate children, developing so much conflict in our society. The key thing with conflict is you can't hold conflict within your gut and expect to live indefinitely. We can't have a bunch of children on this planet who haven't matured and expect the earth to live indefinitely. So then what? Satan comes in and levels a fucking playing field. Or you can call it Bill Gates, or you can call him, Klaus Schwab. They're not bad when you think about it, what they're trying to do. It's like you regulating and releasing the demons when you first do the waterfalls and you get off the J juice, and then you start blowing your nose and releasing the demon through this way. And so you see me fighting the demon, getting the demon out. It wants to stay in. And I'm saying it's so viscous. The mucus is so viscous that I'm fighting the demon every morning and every day, getting it out. So the system has to do it to innovate the world, and then at some point, and there falls civilization. So yeah, when we're holding so much conflict in our society, when you think of your society is like your gut, and there's people over here that are taking their drugs and they're gang banging, or they're causing riots or hurting people. Well, at some point there's got to be a societal purge, but you can't do, what happened in World War II, and so then there's got to be there is an algorithm like frequencies and even viral frequencies, that respond to the frequencies that wake up and destroy. And that's why we have people who are dying from cancer, disease, and chronic illness, because they hold all that conflicting programming. Or why they're aging so quick, because of all that conflicting programming. So you must have money, right? You must be alive to stay alive. You must have money to make money. You must take on excess fat to release the fat. Because remember, for you to take on another programming, you have to release it. You have to release aspects of it, but you still, to take on another program, you have to release the old program, but you have to do it in a way there's a transition and overlap. Okay? Because there is overlap when it comes to life and death and life. And so if you want to be symptom free for the most part, you have to face the symptoms you have. Some of you haven't even faced the symptoms you have. You're trying to be cured and think that you're going to live indefinitely. It's not going to fucking happen. If you need to gain weight, some of you have to lose weight. And so for me to gain the weight that was the proper weight, that was proportional to my environment, I lost a lot of weight in the beginning of the JJ world because because that was the programming, that was the old programming. And when I lost all that weight on the JJ world, then I gained the weight back, a couple of years later, and then the COVID came around and then brought up more. And that was the proper weight because it gave me the strength, it gave me the proteins and all that stuff to release the freaking demons that were in my body. That's why you almost have to worship getting SICK, because that's the only way you're going to release the demons. If you do not get SICK, and open up your alimentary canal and pull out the programming, like Neo pulling out that parasite out of his belly button, but you're pulling it out of your ass. If you're not doing that, the demons are staying inside of you. That's why many people in the JJ world are not going to get this, because they don't want to feel pain. When they're using J as a cancer cure, which I understand, they saw a remission, but they're not going to get that. You have to now go and revisit that situation again and not demonize it. And realize that now you have to blow your nose. This is not about staying in your job and staying in your lifestyle indefinitely and then thinking that's going to be forever, because it ain't. Because you tell the world's changing, and you have to now release the old programming and then bring in the new programming, but it has to be done in a transitional basis, which means there's going to be overlap. You're going to be fighting demons in between, where you are now finally your type O and you've released the type A and B stuff, if you are a type A and B. And if you are a type O with a bunch of crap, and then you have to release the agglutinated A and B that's also controlling you. That's both sides of the A and the type AOB. And O, we figured out, was the base programming. A and B was all the spirits and the demons. I'm not calling you guys that are type A's and B's demons, but you have innovation that is above all else, but it's also going to work against you. We've taken from all of your education and all of your thoughts and feelings and innovation, but now the system is now releasing the A's and B's and now keeping the type O's, but we have now the A's and B's innovation on the internet. And then they know how to program people and use them. Yeah, and you see that these kids that are geniuses at age 13 have college degrees in physics because they've taken on the A and B programming. But in about maybe 10, 15 years after they have been exploited by the system, which that's going to happen, but parents are like, oh, my kid's so wonderful, my kid's so perfect. Okay, the kid might do great things, maybe. And whatever research the kid does when they go to the college system, the academic research and stuff, and they're working their 80, 90 hours a week, they're not wanting to go and have any kind of life. because their whole world's about inventing to be immortal. Like you see that kid's like, oh, I'm going to invent immortality. Okay. And so they're going to figure out whatever he finds or discovers through his research, through his innovation of being a type A and B. Because type O, you're taking on stuff, you're going to be sick all the time. You're not going to sit, in a classroom and do research for 80 hours a week. So you get someone who's a type A and B who doesn't get sick at all at age 13, age 12, because I see people who are type A and B start realizing their issues and when they're in 30. So if they can get somebody when they're a child, like Imhotep, they can exploit them, take the resources as far as their education, innovation, and then use it, and then the kid will then discover their autoimmune disorders when they're 20 or 30. But by that time, all that research they've done in their teen years has been recorded, and someone else is going to use that as a jumping off point to whatever. That's the strategy that's going on. That's why children are being revered, those that have been programmed. And so parents who are like, oh, my kid's so beautiful, my kid's so smart, don't realize that their kid, most likely, if they do have that kind of aptitude to be a genius of sorts, because of their A and B programming, if they're even geared towards that, not all kids are geared towards that. They just have that programming, but they're going to realize their predisposed issues in like 10 years if they don't have that programming purged out and reconfigured. But that's the thing, is that that's what these kids are facing that are being groomed for the system. That you do see that come up on your newsfeed, like, oh, look at this genius, look at this, this and that. And I'm like, I know what it is. My sister, if she was groomed to be a mover and shaker, yeah, she'd be like one of those, because she hardly got sick. She didn't get sick. When we got chicken pox, I told you I was covered from head to toe. She had one chicken pox right in her belly. That was it. One chicken pox. That was how aggressive her immune system was. And then it turned against her later on down the road. And she'll put on her Facebook, she's doing the walks for this. I'm not gonna say who my sister is. Some of you may know, some of you don't. But that's the thing, is that I can speak from experience how A and B programming and how the biotech has developed little soldiers for the system as far as innovation. But they also get sacrificed later on. Imhotep was a perfect example. And it's something that's already recorded. He was only 20 years old when he died. So his peak of innovation came when he was probably like 11 or 12, 13 or 14. And so that's why kids are now being looked at as older, or being groomed to be older and be more mature, because that's where the system figured out how to get the most out of a person, is in their youth. If they mature faster, and they won't realize their autoimmune disorders until after they have contributed to the system the way they were exploited and meant to. That's some fucking shit, man. And so if you need to gain some weight, some of you have to lose weight. If you need to gain weight, some of you have to lose weight. Right. So you're like, well, if you need to gain weight, why would you lose weight? Because you're losing the old programming and gaining your new programming that will give you then the proportional and the proportion. Because I'm telling you, it's basically releasing a baby out of your body. It's releasing a demon out of your body that's taken over. It's, again, like being pregnant. Everybody out there who is dying right now is pregnant with conflicting programming. Everyone out there who is aging, everyone out there who's fighting a cancer, disease, and chronic illness has a spirit within them that needs to be released without having to destroy the person. If you want to live indefinitely, part of you must die. I suppose if you want peace, there must be war. All politics, religion, and science is one person looking at themselves in the mirror. So I'm looking at all of you, and you guys are all fractions of me. And vice versa, I'm a fraction of you. I'm potentially what you could end up if you're willing to do the work. Why would you want to end up like me, right? And people, why would you want to end up like you, Jillian? Who are you? I'm a type O, and I figured out my alimentary canal. I'm purging out my own demons. I'm focused, mission-oriented, sometimes too mission-oriented. And I have pulled myself out of the bullshit out there. I'm not a consumerist. I'm not a cannibalist. I don't bully anybody. I own up to my own fucking mistakes. I'm not greedy. I'm not mean. I can be aggressive and I can drop F-bombs here and there, but that's just my own way of expression. I take care of my dog. You know, I don't really impact anyone adversely because I want people to figure out for themselves. I don't try to convert anybody. I don't beat down the word of God into anybody. I don't do anything that is going to cause someone to be like on the defense. If people choose to listen to me, that's their own fault. If they don't like what I have to say, if people choose to follow my Facebook, that's their own fault. But if people choose to be in my presence, then, you know, I will not put them on the defense because I don't have any antigen programming that will put them on the defense. But I will be on the defense around a lot of people because they have antigen programming that I have to protect myself against. So then I'd say, you know what? I'm taking myself out of the war out there. Occasionally I'll go in there, and then when I do get around people and I start filling up with mucus, I know exactly what I'm dealing with. I'm not going to fault them for it. It's not their fault. But I know what I'm dealing with. And then I go and purge out that demon later on or the next day. But you have to be so in tune. Okay, so when I'm looking at you guys are fractions of me. Some of you are fucking geniuses. Others of you are emotional basket cases. Others of you have, you know, your own whatever, your own things that you're doing that are awesome. That if I learned what you were doing, I could do the same thing too if I wanted to. Okay? So it's not like, you know, we're all so different. Nobody's fucking special. But eventually you want to become a whole person. And you want to get rid of that fucking demon inside of you. Because it's controlling the shit out of you. The moral of the story is you must lose one programming to regain a different one. Your friends and family will not get this unless you really understand this. It's all physics, chemistry, and biology. America, the last great experiment. Bring in programming conflicts, right? Because we're the melting pot. We bring in immigrants. We bring in everybody. We bring in the scientists from Operation Paperclip. Okay? So America, the last great experiment. Bring in programming conflicts and watch them battle it out. America was World War III before it was even known that there was World War I and II. America, we are World War III. We were World War III way back in 1776. The Revolutionary War was World War III. Because here it is. We are in the war right now. We are in it. This is World War III. But now it's a personal war. This is crazy. I gotta get rid of this fucking demon in the back of my throat. You can hear it. You hear me struggling to get it out. It's fucking insane. The demon inside that's controlling you is so viscous. That's the blob. That's the blob. That's was it not Tom Hanks. Robin Williams and that green thing. When you see that sludge stuff that you see like even in some of these horror movies like Immortal Instruments and that thing that is like, it's like all slime. The slime is the mucus. When the Nickelodeon and being slimed, remember that? That's the mucus. That's the entity that controls people. It's all in your face. It's all in plain sight. Mr. Hanky is the programming. The slime is also his cohort. Flubber, thank you. Flubber, yeah. Because that's exactly what I felt when I had that co-infection. It was such I basically had Flubber just cover me from head to foot. And even when I drank water, it was not penetrating. It was like it was hitting a wall. That's how insane it was. So when you're bringing up that demon, it's going to be hell. You will be going through the 9 circles of fucking hell. That's what I'm saying. Those of you who are like, oh yeah, I had the COVID. I understand where you're coming from, Jillian. No, you fucking don't. Believe me, honey, you don't. If you knew where I was coming from, I would see something, a whole different personality come on Facebook. Oh, let me tell you, when you finally bring that demon up, and I don't know all of your blood types. So if you're still blood type A and B, you haven't figured it out. Because once you finally emerge, the O emerges, you will be so angry you are held hostage by the A and B. You will be so angry. So angry. And so some of you won't tell me your blood types because then you'll know I'll know. I mean, I know. I don't need to know your blood type to know if you actually face the demon. Because you're still in the programming. Some of you haven't even scratched the surface of becoming who you truly are and getting to the prototype. Most of you have not. I don't think anybody has, actually. I think Audrey has come close. Audrey is getting close, but she's still having to release those demons. And it'll take a while. It'll take a long while. But you're taking on some of what I'm saying. And so I know you have a lot of potential, Audrey. John has the potential, but he's got a long way to go. He's got a long way to go. But you get intellectually where I'm coming from as far as eating for two. Because you have to gain a bunch of weight. And now with this stuff going on, with all this stuff going on, take advantage of the milk that's out there. Because once they go to some kind of synthetic milk, I don't know what it'll be made up of. I'm sure it'll have the same kind of, relatively the same stuff. But fermentation, you can ferment like anything with sugar. And then you add in whatever milk stuff. Like I have right now kefir. And I have milk. They didn't even have heavy cream at the grocery store yesterday. They had no heavy cream. But you can still get your probiotics. You can still get whatever milk they have on the market that won't have to exploit the poor cows. I mean, I can understand if we had 500 million and then we only have like maybe 1,000 people in a village and there's a few cows for each person. Yeah, Audrey. Yeah. That's what you're hearing right now. It's trying to stop me from speaking. And so she says, oh yes, very close. I can feel it. It's a fucker. It wants to hold on. It feels like it would rather suffocate me than get out. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm in the middle of fighting it out. I mean, it's now coming at this point. It's now at this point. But it still doesn't want to come out. Unless I do something like this. So, yeah, it's a doozy. And some of you are going to be dealing with a demon like you would not believe. And that's going to be hard. So, but it's part of the process. It's part of the process. Hold on a second. What is this? Anyways. Well, just want you guys to know that it's not as bad as you think, but it is a process. And it's gonna, you just gotta go through it. Oh, what is it? Oh, here we go. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm just doing something simultaneously. All right. Anyways, that's all I'm going to say right now. I'm going to do my writing now because now you guys freaking get it. Now you guys get it. And you're in for a long journey. But it's worth it. It really is. And so, that's it. That's all I'm going to say. Let me just get through this. And I hope you guys figure it out. And I know you will. And that's all I'm going to say right now. All right. Bye.